Thanks so much for coming out tonight. So this is Beaver Dam Jazz Fest 2025. I don't know how many years this has been going on, but since I've been here and a long, long time before. We're so happy that you came out tonight. The weather's beautiful, and I know track has started, gardens need to be planted, and we're just so happy that you're coming here and spending some time with us to listen to these awesome jazz bands. Jazz is alive and well in Beaver Dam. We are so fortunate that we have so many kids interested. Both middle schools have a jazz band, the high school has 2 jazz bands, and then all us teachers are in a jazz band. So it is truly alive and well in Beaver Dam. Hopefully tonight you'll hear a bunch of songs you know and some new songs that you leave humming. The first one that we're going to perform for you tonight is a bread and butter staple of the jazz repertoire. It's In the Mood, made famous by Glenn Miller. And I had to do it this year because I have so many saxophone players, I think the most I've ever had since I've been here. So we're going to start off with In the Mood, and here are the solos you are going to hear from: Burke Betcher, Olivia McClanahan, Amelia Johnson twice, and Aidan LaFountain. Did I miss anyone? All right, let's go. In the Mood. So that was from the late 30s, right before World War II. This next tune is called Smack Dab in the Middle. Never played it before. I never had heard of it before. And once I started looking into it, it's actually pretty famous and been recorded many, many times by many people. This is a shuffle, which if you don't know what a shuffle is, as soon as you hear the drum part, you're going to say, oh, that sounds like a shuffle. It's happy. The lyrics talk about having things like 10 Cadillacs, 10 suits of clothes, a 10-room house, throw me smack dab in the middle of all that. So it's a really happy song. You're going to hear a bunch of solos. In the middle, you're going to hear a whole bunch of two-measure solos. Probably best if you just hold your applause till all of those are over. And that's going to be Graydon Straczewski, Marcella Gunther, Olivia McClanahan, Amelia Johnson, Addie Davis, Aidan LaFountain, Lily Rohde, Sophia Winkle, and then Brooke Betcher will have a longer solo at the end. And probably just wait till the end of that and you can cheer loudly. So this is smack dab in the middle. So almost all those solos were improvised. And this is kind of the beginning of that whole improvising journey where you start to learn to see the notes on the page and you make something up with it, which is really scary at first. We've been working on it all year, and it's so nice to have so many kids volunteer to solo for those solos. So can we give all the kids who soloed one more round of applause? And we're going to finish off with a tune that I would imagine most of you have heard before. It's called Proud Mary. It was written by John Fogerty, performed by him and also by Tina Turner. Written about a riverboat. This is the Rolling on the River, if you're trying to think of the lyrics. So this is Proud Mary. Takes just a few minutes to get off the stage and get SKDS set up.
evening. This is the St. Catherine Drexel Jazz Band. We're a little bit smaller than the middle school jazz band, but I'm really proud of these kids. They do a lot. We practice after school on Wednesdays, and because we're such a smaller group, they really have to step up and be confident in their own parts. So first tune we're going to play is called Take On Me, made popular by the band Aha. So without further ado, here we go. Thank you so much. The next tune we're going to play is called Moondance, written by Van Morrison and performed by him. We have some solos on this one by Easton Stommel, Liam Garcia Chavez, and Liam Gansky. This one too, the solos are only like 6 measures, so if we could wait till they're all done so we don't miss the next one. So we'd appreciate that. Thank you. All right, our last tune is, what's our last? Oh, Green Onions. Green Onions are made famous by Booker T and the MGs. Even if you don't know this tune by the name of it, you probably will recognize it. Here's Green Onions.
So this is what the stand racks are off to the side. You get 10 in the first row, 4 in the second row, and 5 stands. So if you want to grab first row. First row. Move. Four in this row.
right here.
Four chairs, 4 seconds here. 10 in the first row. How many up here?
You say 10?
You have 10? 10. Go tight up against the other one, yep. All right, start grabbing instruments. Start sit down, guys. All right. Should be good. One mic for a second here for you. Okay, this was an extra one. I don't know why it was on there, so. Have fun. Thank you. All right. Should be good.
All right, hello, good evening. This is Jazz 2, and our first number that we're going to play is Night of the Living Chili Pepper by Doug Beach. The samba chart features Charlie Scholes on piano, Nate Smith on drum set, and Carter Rommelfinger on trumpet. All right, so this year again, we played at the WSMA Solo Ensemble Festival, hosted the WSMA Solo Ensemble Festival, and these next two charts we played for our solo ensemble performance. They're Back Burner and Go For It, and Jazz 2 received a 1 rating, as high as we can achieved as high as we can play in Class B. Yeah. So this swing chart is going to feature Miles Wheatonheft on tenor saxophone and Carter Rommelfinger on trumpet again. All right, our third selection is entitled Go For It by Paul Clark. And this tune is a rock chart, and it features Peter Henning on trombone and Carter Rommelfinger on trumpet for a third time. So before our final selection, I just wanted to say thank you. This is the last performance of the year for Jazz 2, and I just wanted to thank Senior and the group. So thank you very much to Carter for 3 years in Jazz 2, and done a great job, and I really, really appreciate that. Yeah. All right, our final selection is entitled Good Time, and it's arranged by John Wazen, and we have a solo by Miles Wiedenheft on tenor saxophone.
All right, hello everybody. That first song was Shiny Stockings, composed by Frank Foster, arranged by Greg Yezanitsky. We featured Abby Goodconnect on trumpet and Benicio Gonzalez on drum set. Up next, we're going to slow down just a little bit and feature another one of our trumpet players. Sarah Saylor has been our lead trumpet for the last 2 years, and we're excited to feature her on I Remember Clifford, composed by Benny Golson, arranged by Eric Morales. Clifford Brown was an American jazz trumpeter, pianist, and composer. He died at the age of 25 in a car crash, unfortunately. His compositions, Joy Spring, Sandu, and Dahoud, have become jazz standards. Here's Sarah Saylor and Jazz 1 on I Remember Clifford. Cheek to Cheek was written by Irving Berlin in 1934 and 35, specifically for Fred Astaire, the star of his new musical Top Hat, co-starring Ginger Rogers. In the movie, Astaire sings the song to Rogers as they dance. The song was nominated for the Best Song Oscar in 1936. We're excited to feature Kate Jameson as our vocalist on this piece. This is Cheek to Cheek.
To find the happiness I see when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek. Yes, heaven, I'm in heaven, and the cares that hung around me through the week seem to vanish like a gambler's lucky streak when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek. Oh, I love to go out fishing in a river or a creek, but I don't enjoy it half as much as dancing cheek to cheek. Oh, I love to climb a mountain, reach the highest peak, but it doesn't thrill me half as much as dancing cheek to cheek. My arm about you, the charm about you will carry me through to heaven. I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak. And I seem to find the happiness I see when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek. Dance with me, I want my arm about you, the charm about you will carry me through to heaven. I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak, and I seem to find the happiness I see when we're out together dancing. We're out together dancing when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek, to cheek, cheek to cheek.
Fred Sturm was a jazz composer, arranger, and teacher. He was the director of jazz and improvisational music at the Lawrence University Conservatory of Music in Appleton, Wisconsin. Prior to teaching there, he served as the professor and chair of jazz studies and contemporary media at the Eastman School of Music in New York from 1991 to 2002, where he directed the internationally acclaimed Eastman Jazz Ensemble. Sturm received the University Award for Excellence in Teaching at Lawrence in 2005 and the 2010 Downbeat Jazz Education Achievement Award in 2010. Over the course of his university teaching career, Downbeat magazine has cited his ensembles as the finest in the United States and Canada 9 times. Our next piece, Riverscape, was commissioned by the University of Wisconsin River Falls. We really enjoyed learning about this. This is a different kind of piece for us, which is kind of what I like to do. I like to do a piece like this every year that's a little bit more out there, a little bit different. So we played this one along with our first chart, Shiny Stockings, as part of our solo and ensemble program. We're honored to be returning, Jazz One is, to State Solo and Ensemble for the 3rd year in a row this Saturday. Riverscape will feature Luli Mercier on the piano and Brianna Meyer on soprano saxophone. Boy, isn't that one cool? I love that chart so much. Okay, we got one more on the program for you, but before we do that, we do have a number of seniors in the group that I want to thank for their time in the ensemble, their participation, their dedication. Jazz band is an extracurricular at the high school, so they're putting in time outside of school. Jazz 1 rehearses Tuesday nights at 6 o'clock, and then again on Thursday, and we just have a lot of fun. So hope you all have had fun. I want to recognize them by section. In our saxophone section, Brianna Meyer. In our trombone section, Colton Reisman and Noah Kickert. Trumpets, Sarah Saylor and Joy Nelson. And on the drum set, Benicio Gonzalez. Since this is our last chart on the program, just a couple thank yous to some folks. First and foremost, I want to thank Mr. Greg Richard up in the booth up there for running lights, sound, mics, and everything. Thank you, Greg. Thank you to admin, custodial, and anybody that helped make this concert happen from both BDHS, BDMS, and St. Catherine Drexel. And of course, thank you to friends, family that are here tonight for your support of all the students you've seen on stage tonight. How about one more big round of applause for all of our jazz bands? As with all of our concerts here at Beaver Dam High School, on your way out you'll see a couple students with some wicker baskets. We do take a free will donation if you have $1 or $2 you want to throw in there. That goes right to support all the jazz musicians you've seen on stage today with music, reeds, strings, anything you can think of. That's really appreciated. So, our last chart, I Want You Back, is the first national single by the Jackson 5. The piece became the first #1 hit for the band in January of 1970. It was performed on the band's first television appearances on the Hollywood Palace and later the Ed Sullivan Show. We'll feature Jacob McClelland on trumpet. Thanks for coming. Joy Nelson on the trumpet, Miles Wiedenheft and Brianna Meyer on alto sax, Owen Hemling on the trombone.